Hi, it's Sam here, and I'm going to talk to you in this recording about proactively supporting your mental well-being. Now think about it, what do we plan for in our lives? We plan holidays, we plan meals and food, we write shopping lists, we look after other people and plan for other people. We plan in our diary to include working and social and things that family members are doing. But how often do we plan for our own mental health, which is really the most important thing? When you're thinking about your week ahead and all the things you have to do you think about what you're going to do for yourself, for your mental health? And I'm sure you're laughing at me right now like, yes, Sam, really? As if, have you seen my schedule? And that is normal. But why is that? Why do we plan for everything except looking after our mental well-being? We tend to wait until we're struggling and then think, do you know what, I need to take a break, or I need to talk to someone, or we carry on whilst we're struggling. So this is why I'm going to talk to you about this in this recording, proactively looking after your mental well-being, because it's important and you're important. And it's actually not that hard, I promise. It just takes a bit of effort until it becomes habit. Have I got it right myself? Well, honestly, most of the time I'm there, but sometimes I slip and I forget and I go back into a depression trough, so I have to work harder to come out of it. Mostly when I slip, it includes shouting at my husband and eating chocolate more than normal for a while. Well, actually, I'm not actually sort of joking. I can recognise the signs now that I need to do something to support my mental health. But let's talk about being proactive. It's not complicated, and you're probably doing all the things that you should be already, perhaps just a little bit sporadically. It's about valuing yourself, valuing your feelings and emotions, and working out what works for you. As always, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to make suggestions, give you ideas, and ask you to develop your own plan. Although I am going to give you a little bit of something to make it easier. The very first thing you have to do is make a commitment to value your mental well-being, that you are important, that your feelings and emotions are important. Once you can do that, the rest is easy. But I know that first step is hard. You work in the care industry, so by nature you're going to be empathic. You're going to be able to relate to people and people relate to you. You're probably the sort of person who strangers will talk to, and after 5 minutes you know their life story. Is that you? Because that is me. My husband says that I have "talk to me, I will listen to anyone" tattooed on my forehead. It is because you are empathic and you have a caring aura that people pick up on. The problem with being empathic is that quite often you value other people's feelings before your own. You will keep caring and working and putting other people before you, often until you're ill physically or mentally or both. And I understand that. You care so much that you give everything you've got. The only thing that is, by giving everything you've got and not giving some to yourself, you actually have less to give. There's so many cheesy analogies that can demonstrate this. You can't pour from an empty cup is one of them. It means that if you keep giving to others without replenishing yourself, then you have less to give. Another one is that you should put your oxygen mask on before helping anyone with theirs. If you're working fully, you can help more people, so it's logical. The first step you have to take to be proactive in your mental health is to recognise the importance of your mental health, that your feelings and emotions are just as valid as anybody else's, but actually more important because they're yours. You are important, you are a priority, you matter. Work towards believing that and acknowledging that. And it's kind of linked to self-esteem. It's about saying, I am as important as other people. And so many of us, especially in the care industry, don't always believe that. If you are, I would love to give you a hug right now to show you how important that you really, really are. Unfortunately, I'm not right next to you, and B, if I was, I wouldn't be allowed to, but maybe one day. Right, so enough of the slushy cuddly bit. Let's move on as to how you can proactively support your mental health. Okay, there are 3 common factors. I think I got lipstick on my teeth, but that's okay. There are 3 common factors underpinning mental health issues. They are low self-esteem, social isolation, and ruminative negative thinking. So proactively working to look after your mental well-being is about working on your self-esteem, maintaining social support groups, and working at keeping a positive perspective. So let's start with your self-esteem. Are you quite hard on yourself? If I asked you to tell me 3 things you don't like about yourself and 3 things you do like about yourself, which 3 would you come up with more easily? I bet it's the negatives. And again, this is normal. So don't feel that you are the only one, because I promise you, you're not. Proactively supporting your mental health means using positive language on yourself, training your brain to see the positives about you and what you do, not the negatives. When you go home at the end of the day, instead of listing in your head the things you didn't get done, talk about the things you did get done. If you didn't get it done, then it wasn't a priority. Be your own friend. Talk nicely to yourself. Stop beating yourself up for what you think you're not, and start recognizing your good qualities. It's funny. For a long period of my life, I was consumed with the fact that I'm fat. Society likes thin people because apparently fat people are unhealthy and to blame for everything. So people would say to me, look at all the fabulous things you've done, Sam. And I'd be like, yeah, but I'm fat. And then I had a revelation. And let me share that revelation with you, brothers and sisters. The revelation was, yes, I am fat, but I don't care. If I did care, then I would prioritize doing something about it. And if anybody can rock sexy fat, it's me. So now I remind myself of all my positives and all the things I've done. Am I still fat? Yeah. Is my house always clean and tidy? No. But that's not my priority. I've never seen a gravestone that says, here lies Sam, she was thin and her house was tidy. So work towards that revelation for yourself. Forgive yourself for what you're not. It's okay. Celebrate what you are and remind yourself regularly. Take time each week to acknowledge your achievements and what you're proud of, what you did that week. It will be hard initially, but I promise it will become easier the more you do it and will become happy. If anybody tries to criticize you for something, point out that it might be their priority, but it's not yours. Even using different language can make you feel different. So secondly, you have to have regular social interaction with people. Our support networks are so important to our mental well-being. It may be family, friends, work colleagues, whoever you have positive relationships with. Take time to nurture those relationships. Spend time with people enjoying yourself, doing things you like. We feel better when we have positive interactions with good people. Nurture the relationships, plan social activities and prioritize them. If you keep missing or cancelling, ask, why do I do that? And what can I do to ensure that they go ahead? Even just a coffee and a catch up with someone or a FaceTime call whilst you're doing something dull. We need people in our life. And it's also important that you undertake activities that bring you joy and are just for you. Hobbies, craft, even exercise if you're into that sort of thing. I mean, I recognise that some people actually like sweating, and that's okay. But it can be with people or on your own. Do it for you. And the third thing I mentioned was ruminative negative thinking. We get into negative thinking habits, and we get into the habit of only seeing negativity, and that supports our negative mood. There's a parable I once heard, and I may have got a little bit wrong, but it kind of goes like this, okay? So there were 2 men from the same town who died and went to heaven. The first man asked the gatekeeper of heaven what heaven was like. I think the gatekeeper might have been St. Peter, but I wasn't there, so I'm not so sure. Anyway, the gatekeeper, let's say it's St. Peter. St. Peter Kirker said, what was it like in the town where you lived? And the man said it was horrible. Homeless people on the street, crime, naughty children, horrible people. St. Peter said, well, come on in, but you'll find heaven is the same. It was then the turn of the second man from the same town. He asked St. Peter, what is heaven like? And St. Peter asked him, well, what was the town where you lived like? Oh, it was lovely, said the man. People were friendly. Everyone looked out for each other, and I smiled every day. Come on in, said St. Peter. You will find heaven is the same. Our perspective is important to our mental health, and everything is about perspective. Research has shown that positive people live longer. Honestly, negative thinking is damaging to our mental and physical health. Positive people have better mental and physical health. Working proactively to nurture positive thinking is as simple as writing down 3 positive things that happened that day at the end of each day. It's called a gratitude journal, and it has been scientifically proven to rewire the brain. The more you do it, the easier it is to do, and it becomes habit and you feel happier. So I've talked about boosting your self-esteem. I've talked about having regular social interaction and thinking positively. And listen, thinking positively doesn't mean that, oh, my life is perfect. I'm going to run through fields of poppies eating chocolate forever in a white frilly dress. That's not positive thinking. Positive thinking means that you acknowledge all the good things that happen and you believe that when things go wrong, you will be okay. So each week, write a tick list of things you have to plan for your mental well-being when planning your diary. Include social activities, relaxation activities, hobbies, physical activity, something positively selfish, and one thing can cover several of those. When making plans, remember the rule is that the more detail you plan something in, the more likely it is to happen. So don't just write coffee with Sam. Write coffee with Sam, 3 o'clock, coffee shop, Thursday. Also think about what might get in the way of it happening and how you can prioritise that and not let it not happen. I don't think a double negative there is good, but you know what I mean. Get into the habit of your 3 grateful things at the end of each day. Set an alarm on your phone to remind you. At the end of the week, write down what you did well that you liked about yourself that week. To help you with the planning, I've cleverly designed a weekly planning sheet that you can use to plan for your mental well-being in the same way you can plan for your diary, covering most of the elements I've talked about. I use it, as I know lots of people do, to help them look after that help. And I know that JD, Phil and John will send it to you if you want it, or probably just send it to you anyway. Finally, write yourself a mental well-being first aid plan for when your resilience feels lower. Write down what the signs are that you have been neglecting your mental health. Then write down what you should do to help yourself feel better, who you should talk to, and what you need to remind yourself. My indicators are that I don't want to get out of bed or see people and I'm snappy. What I need to do is make plans and see friends and family, listen to music and dance and watch the things that make me laugh. I also need to talk to my husband about how I feel, and I need to remind myself that I am loved and worthwhile. And sexy, obviously. But listen, thank you for listening. Please do look after yourself. You're in an emotionally challenging role, so you have to. You are important. You are amazing. Be positively selfish.